All right, welcome back, everybody. We are at the beginning of Parshas Balak. Parshas Balak is the 7th portion in the book of Numbers, the 40th portion since the beginning of the Torah. There are 104 verses, 1,455 words, 5,357 letters. Not an extra letter in the Torah. There are 0 mitzvahs, 0 performative, 0 prohibitions. It's just, if you think about it, why would we have a Parsha dedicated to just a story? There's no mitzvah in the entire this week's Parsha portion, but you will see that there's a lot that we learned from this week's Parsha. So there are 2 acts, Act 1 and Act 1. If you see, I forgot to put Act 2. Okay, so that's the correction. Act 1 is Bilam and Balak. Balak, king of Moab, is in morbid fear of Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people. He summons a renowned sorcerer and powerful prophet named Bilam to curse them, to curse the Jewish people. Now, I read over here in my notes just something that's important for us to pay attention to. When God gave the nations of the world the option to receive the Torah, so everyone got the same email. It's like you ever get that email from your neighborhood next door or one of those things, free couch, pick it up, right? And then you write back, taken, right? So you wonder, who's that guy who got it, right? So God sends out an email saying, free Torah. Who wants it? Taken, right? It's taken by the Jew. But everyone asked, okay, well, what is this Torah? What is it? And every nation had their prophet reach out to the Almighty and ask, my people want to know what's in that Torah. Oh, thou shalt not murder. Not for us. Thou shalt not steal. No adultery. All of that. No, not for us. So there are a couple of interesting midrashic teachings on this. Number one is that those who said, so they went back to a vote. It's going to be a vote, right? We're going to have paper ballots, right? No machines, no, what do they call those machines? No, the voting machines, the ones that they either way. Dimple chads and the pregnant chads, right? I remember those. So what happens? What happens is that they take a vote and the French say, sorry, no adultery, we're out. We're out. So they took a vote. It was a majority vote. And 97% said we don't want it. What happened to the other 3%? What happened to the other 3%? They were outvoted. Yeah. But they wanted to receive the Torah. So the Midrash says that those are going to be the future converts. Those are going to be the ones who said, no, we want to accept the Torah. We want it, but they were outvoted. What are we going to do? Right? So those are the future converts. An amazing Midrash. But there's something else that you need to know. Is that the nations of the world are going to say, oh, you know why we didn't get the Torah? Because we didn't have Moshe. Had we had such a charismatic, such an incredible orator, such a delightful human being as Moshe, then we would have also accepted the Torah. So Hashem gave an even greater, more powerful prophet as Bilam to the nations. Bilam was an unbelievably power with incredible potential. He superseded Moshe in prophetic ability. Now, it wasn't utilized, but if he would have utilized it, would have been even greater than Moshe. So don't come complaining that because we know that Moshe's speech was not his top quality. That's number one. Speech was not on the top of his list. Additionally, Moshe didn't have such great management skills. And we see is he needed his father-in-law to give him advice and to, be a backseat driver there. Okay, so first Hashem speaks to Bilam and forbids him to go. And for those of you who joined our Monday night class last night, we talked about this. You'll see in a minute what we talked about. But because Bilam is so insistent, God appears to him a second time and permits him to go. Our sages teach us from this the power of will. When someone truly desires and wills something, that willpower will eventually come to reality. 90% of a gold medal in the Olympics is will. 10% is skill. 90% is that drive, that will. I'm not stopping. 10% is they need to learn some skill, technique. But if you don't have that tenacity, that push, that to go get them, then you'll never get to first base. Right? How many times do we do these yo-yo diets? We go up and we go down and we go up and down. If a person just had a drive to lose that weight, right, it wouldn't be that way. When en route, a malach, an angel, an emissary from God, blocks Bilam's donkey's path. Unable to contain his frustration, Bilam strikes the donkey each time it stops or tries to detour. Miraculously, the donkey speaks, asking Bilam why he is hitting her. So if you look at Rashi on this, Rashi says that there was an angel of mercy. This angel standing in the way. The donkey saw it. Animals are more spiritual than humans are. The donkey saw the angel, but he didn't see it. What is that? What type of angel was it? So look at Rashi. Rashi, it's a brilliant Rashi. Rashi says it was a malach shel rachamim. It was an angel of mercy. What is he saying here? Rashi over here says that it was an angel of mercy that was there to stop him. So the question is, what's going on here with this angel of mercy? What's this angel of mercy doing here? So many times, we're trying to push for something, and the door closes, and we get upset. That stewardess or that lady at the counter at the airline, she's not willing to put us on that plane, and we're yelling and screaming. It's an angel of mercy saying, this is not the right flight for you. This is not and we get frustrated, and we start hitting the donkey. What are you hitting the donkey? What did the donkey do wrong? Hashem is always talking with us, sending us messages. Don't hurt the messenger. Okay? The Malach instructs Bilam regarding what he is permitted to say and what he is forbidden to say about the Jewish people. So no one has power, right? No power without Hashem giving permission for it. Right? A person doesn't have the ability to do something against Hashem's will. When Bilam arrives, King Balak makes an elaborate preparation and hoping that Bilam will succeed in the curse. So one of the things that we discussed yesterday is that Habal Taher Mesaino, so someone who comes to purify himself, to do good, he gets assistance from above. We talked about this, an amazing commentary on the Talmud about this. The Talmud says that every word that you utter creates either a good angel or a bad angel. You know who assists you in those good? the angels you created. They assist you. So an example. Someone says, I'm gonna lose that weight. I'm gonna give that charity. You know what you do there? You're creating angels. Those angels are gonna help bring about that success happens. If someone, God forbid, says negative, he's creating negative angels that are not going to assist him, but they're going to open the door for him. You can walk through, but we're going to open the door for you. Now, it's a very important thing. One second. There's a very important thing here, is that you see that Bilam is making elaborate preparations, hoping that he will succeed. But you know what? And that's why it says, Habali tameh potchilo, someone who comes to defile himself. They open the door. They don't assist him, but they'll make it easier for him to do it himself. Yes?
Is the name Bill or Balaam?
In English, it's Balaam, but...
Well, because on the bottom it's Balaam,
right.
and on the top it says Bill.
That's me. My mistake. Sorry.
Well, is it a mistake? Or
It is a mistake, yeah.
they didn't just call them different names. Which one's correct?
Well, I have Balaam and I have Baalam. And I have Bilam. So it's the correct name is Bilam. That's the way the Torah spells it. B-I-L-A-A-M. B-I-L-A-A-M. Okay? That's the way it is in the Hebrew, but in the English it's pronounced differently. Like Pinchas is not pronounced Pinchas in English. Yitzchak is not pronounced Yitzchak. It's Yitzhak or Isaac. Either. Okay, good question. 3 times Bilam attempts to curse, and 3 times blessings are issued instead. You can't go against the will of Hashem. Right? Balak sees that Bilam has failed and sends him home in disgrace. You can't go against Hashem's will. Hashem, okay, so here's the most amazing thing. So like if you think about this story, okay, I was once listening to a lecture and the rabbi said, I never even thought about this. Why in the world do we need to know about this story? About Balak? Someone tried to hurt us. Big deal. They didn't. Now, what do I need to know this whole story? Imagine Moshe sitting there, writing the Torah, and Hashem says, okay, next chapter. Okay. And there was the king, his name was Balak, and he had this prophet named Bilam, and they went to a mountain to oversee the Jewish people and to curse the Jewish people. Does Moshe know any of this? Moshe doesn't know any of this. Moshe doesn't know that any of this happened. He's writing the Torah. He's like, say what? What? When did this happen? Oh, Moshe, while you were busy taking care of the Jewish people, I was busy protecting you. This is the way Hashem conducts the world. We don't even know most of the times that we were saved from a catastrophe. You know why you left your house late? You were supposed to leave early. You know why you left the house late? God. So exactly, car accident. So you won't hit that piece of shrapnel that falls off the truck and cuts everyone's tires. A friend of mine was driving from East Texas all the way far from Louisiana, and a tractor trailer, a piece of metal, steel, fell off the tractor trailer, and every single car, 10, 20 cars that passed by this little piece of metal that was on the road, hit and slashed both tires and broke the rims, like completely destroyed the rims. Imagine someone who by mistake left their house 5 minutes later and didn't have to succumb to this, right? 5 minutes later. Hashem always says, so Moshe's, right? To see Moshe's perspective, Moshe's saying, what? When did this happen? I never knew about this. There was no announcement. There was no news story about this. It was never told to the Jewish people. So why is Hashem writing this in the Torah? Hashem is writing this in the Torah so that we know and take this message as an example. So there's no mitzvah in the Torah in this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha, there's no mitzvah in the Torah. Pay attention that every single moment of our life, there's a miracle going on. That's a mitzvah too. To notice. To notice we're being surrounded by miracles. Okay, act number 2.
What about the idea of the angel appearing when Bilam couldn't see the angel, but the donkey could see the angel? So isn't that like another? I mean,
Right. So we said
tells
that.
people
Right.
that
The
there are
animal.
angels.
The animal is more sensitive to holiness than you know. Do you want to know something amazing? You ever see those videos of like earthquakes? And you see, I've
Oh,
seen it
yeah.
and you see the dogs start jumping and barking like 30 seconds before the earthquake actually shakes right? They are much more spiritually aligned with what's going on in the world than we human beings are. Now, it could be that if we were more involved spiritually, that we could connect with that. Most likely. But as normal human beings, that's sometimes not a possibility. Sometimes we're carried away with the world that we're, immersed in, and with all the materialism and with all the craziness that we have in our world. Sometimes it's not a good thing. I think, by the way, what we mentioned before about the angels that are created, that's why a person should always involve himself with good things. Don't watch. If you know there's news that's not good news, don't watch it. Whether it be inappropriate with modesty, or whether it be a story about another murder or another stabbing or another, just don't listen to it, because you don't want to create by your thoughts, by your speech, new angels of concern, of worry, of negativity. You want to only have the positive. And when the television dictates it for us, and in our house you have this being blasted on our televisions, right? So the aura in the house could be affected negatively as well. That's just something I think it's a little superstitious, but I think there's some feet to it. So act number 2 begins as follows: the sins with the Moabites. So now Balak tries to put together another scheme. The Bnei Israel begins sinning with the Moabite women and worshiping the Moabite idols, and they're punished with a plague. So the Moabite women, they dress up to attract the eyes and the attention of the Jewish men. And they come, oh, we'll be together, we'll this, we'll that, and living in an inappropriate way with these young Moabite women. And of course, bringing their idols along with it. And they're like, what's the problem? Why can't we just be like everyone else? Why do we have to be alone, right? And it's the same argument we hear all the time about assimilation. We should just assimilate and be like everyone else. One of the Jewish leaders brazenly brings a Midianite princess into his tent in full view of Moshe and the people. And Pinchas, a grandson of Aaron, grabs a spear and kills both evildoers. And he is rewarded greatly. We'll see that in next week's Torah portion, how he's rewarded with, what was the gift that he was given?
He was a Kohen.
Correct, a priesthood. He became a priest. He was the only one after the original batch of priests were declared. The only one who was added after was Pinchas. Why? Because, one second, what is the characteristic of a Kohen? Peace. Peace. This guy just killed 2 people, and we give him the reward of peace. And asati lo brisi shalom, I gave him the covenant of peace. What? How's it possible that someone who just murdered a zealot, right? He thinks he's the law enforcement here, right? Kills these 2 people. So there's a difference between someone being violent, someone being aggressive, and someone being pure goodness, pure will of Hashem. Now, who can discern that? Only Hashem. That's why Hashem gave Pinchas this reward. Hashem says, you, because I see that the way in which you acted was completely selfless. Look, nobody wants to be called a murderer. Nobody wants to go walk around. How am I going? Who's going to want to marry my kids when they know that I just put a spear through 2 people? Right? but this is what Hashem wants. This is what Hashem's, right? This is what you're doing in front of the camp, right? Defiling the entire nation. But because God knew that his intention was absolutely pure, without any notion of impurity, without any notion of aggression, without any notion of selfishness, he was rewarded greatly. So that's the reward for a genuine truth seeker. Someone who is a genuine truth seeker, Hashem notices it, and you'll never lose from it. The act brings an end to the plague, but not before 24,000 people died from this plague. It's a lot of Jewish people that died because of this plague. And
Do we,
you know,
do we have any idea why that number? It's an awful lot of
also
people.
it's very right, because I was thinking about that, because we also have the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva.
Yeah.
It's really, and they also died from a plague.
Right.
What's going on here with this number 24,000 and plagues and people dying? The answer to the question is I don't know, because if I would have known, I would have put it in the notes.
Okay.
But I don't know.
It's all right. You're allowed to say you don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I wish I did. I've tried to do some research on it, but I haven't come up with anything yet.
You can ask the rabbi next week.
I'll
Why?
try to find a real rabbi to give me
You
some
know
answers.
what about the rabbi that teaches you or that you study?
I can ask him tomorrow. Yeah, but it really is a question. So here you have two stories that are being told in this week's Parsha. One is the story of Bilam and Balak trying to curse the Jewish people, going against the will of Hashem. The second is the Jewish people going against the will of Hashem and having very, very terrible results from it, in that 24,000 people died. That's terrible. It's a devastating. That's like, think about that. That's like, it's less than half, but it's still an enormous amount of people. It's, the Jewish population in Houston now is about 70,000 Jews, right? 60 to 70,000 Jews. That's a lot of people. 24,000 Jews is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? And for that many Jews to die because of such a plague, because they were, acting inappropriately with these Midianite women, is pretty serious. So I think the lessons that could be taken are manifold, and God willing, we'll take those lessons. We'll learn from the wicked Bilam and Balak. We'll learn from the sins of our ancestors that they performed with these Midianites, and hopefully we'll take a lesson to it. But also, it's just an interesting thing that Bilam tries 3 different times to curse the Jewish people. And every time, right? 3 times. Keeps trying. And what he does end up saying is, Ma tovu olecha Yaakov, how great are the doorways of the Jewish people. That the doorways were not, the houses weren't opposite each other. The houses, there was privacy. So when you look at every house, you didn't see your neighbor's entrance to their house. Everyone had their own privacy. But he kept on trying. If Hashem doesn't will it, it won't work. If Hashem doesn't will it, it won't work. All right. Any questions?
So it's okay.